I'm Chris. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm reviewing the new IR loader plugin, Cabinetron by 3Buddy Tech. If that company name sounds familiar, that's because they're also the developers of Kirchhoff EQ, which is arguably FabFilter's biggest competitor in the modern EQ space to ProQ. Let's dive in and see if they bring that same polish to Cabinetron. And yes, that name isn't catchy, but luckily that's not the most important thing. So guitar people in the know realize how much effect either a guitar cabinet or an impulse response created from one has on the end result in guitar tone. If you listen to people like Jens Bogren or Glenn Fricker, the majority of the tone, or something like 80%, comes from the cabinet or impulse response. On top of that, the Celestine Vintage 30 recorded via an SM57 in front of an oversized 4x12 cabinet has been done to death, at least in high gain sort of genres. For those of us who want a bit more variety in our tone, Cabinetron is here to save the day. So when I first saw Cabinetron and looked at the feature list, I was extremely happy. Finally, someone managed to take all the best parts of every other slot-based IR loader and put them all in the one plugin, and add some extra features to boot. Now, I'm reviewing based on the demo version, which I downloaded off their site, which isn't time limited, but has some other limitations, such as not being able to use presets or save state in general, and not being able to export the final blend as a single IR file. I'll just point out at this point that while there is a link to Cabinetron in the description, I don't use affiliate links, so it's just a normal link. This review is my full and honest opinion and hasn't been solicited by 3Buddy Tech. So there's 3 views within Cabinetron. The one you'll be spending the most time with is the list view, which shows a tree view of your IR collection, along with the 8 IR slots and their controls. The mixer view gives you a Cartesian mixture, which allows you to blend your IRs in a graphical way in a similar manner to SGL Libre if you've seen that plugin. And finally, the EQ view offers both a cut-down version of Kirchhoff EQ to fine-tune your tone, and tone matching to enable you to match with a reference tone. So back on the list view, Cabinetron comes with a library of close to 400 impulse responses, and about the same number of presets. There's a color-coded tagging system, along with some factory ones to get you started, as well as a favorites list. To populate a slot, you can either drag from the left-hand side, or double-click on it to bring up a File Explorer dialog. Once you've done that, the IR is loaded, and a frequency response graph is shown for each IR slot. I wish it also displayed a frequency response graph for the blend though. You can navigate between IRs in the same folder by using the left and right arrows in a slot. All the conventional slot level controls are there: volume and panning, phase flip and control, and high and low pass filters. There's also a dry wet knob, a so-called mutation control that allows you to apply any of a number of preset variations to an IR, a control to smooth each IR, and one to simulate the so-called Fred dual miking technique, controls to simulate changing the microphone position and distance, and also a 3-band EQ that's modelled on guitar cabinet impedance curves. So that's definitely a lot more per slot features than any other IR loader plugin I've come across. For me, the particular ones that set it apart from the competition are the mutation, smoothing, and Fred controls. So I'll do a quick demo of those now. Another really useful feature this has for IR blending is auto phase alignment. Now, ideally this should be done automatically as each new IR gets loaded, and I hope they change this. But for now, it's a one-off manual action triggered by right-clicking any slot and choosing auto phase align to align all loaded IRs. While we're on the subject, you may have noticed the disable auto gain function off the same menu. The auto gain functionality makes a huge difference to the usability and is overall well implemented. Using the slot solo buttons does dip the volume though, so I found myself using the slot on and off controls a lot instead. So there are 4 controls at the top that persist across all 3 views, as well as the obligatory volume control and bypass buttons. There's also an A-B switch to enable 2 different configs to be compared, a simple doubling simulator, a control to dial in a percentage of room sound, and a non-linearity control that performs a similar function to Berggren's IRDX if you're familiar. The mixer viewer is simple, but a pleasure to use. A great way to pick a blend that sounds right. I do like that there are cabinet on and off and mute and solo options on this screen, but having a frequency response curve of the overall blend would be great to give you the maximum amount to work with as well as what you're hearing. Finally, looking at the EQ view, as was to be expected, the 24-band parametric EQ is excellent, just like Kickoff is, and there's really no reason to use one in the DAW rather than this. And it has all the usual filter types and more. The tone matching functionality is not my area of expertise and is less easy to demonstrate or test, especially without the presets in the demo version. I'm reliably informed that it is quite solid, not quite as capable as the Melda Match EQ products, which are the gold standard here, but not too far behind either. So I've done a lot of talking about the plugin. Let's hear how it sounds in a full mix. So what's my overall verdict on this plugin? I don't think this is an exaggeration to say that this is a game changer in the niche of guitar-focused IR loader plugins. I have wanted someone to do a plugin that makes working with IR blending this pain-free for a long time, and that day has finally arrived. Don't get me wrong though, it's not perfect. There are some niggly issues like the auto phase alignment not being automatically applied, lack of an overall frequency response view, some not great ways about the ways it handles gain staging and muting and soloing slots, but overall it's really well done. The closest competitor I can find in terms of functionality that's currently released is the little known Farmageddon, which has most of the functionality of Cabinetron, but it also comes with a $139 price tag. Cabinetron, however, is on sale at what seems to be a very reasonable to me $59 as an intro special. Should you buy it? In my opinion, yes. I'm going to be picking it up as soon as I have the cash together. As you can probably tell, I haven't been so excited by a plugin like I have by this one for some time, so at the very least, do yourself a favour and check out the demo. I hope you found that informative and appreciate the value of an independent review like this one. If you did, please subscribe to my channel, as part of my mission on YouTube is to provide reviews of paid products that you can actually trust, as well as showcasing some great free plugins and other content like tutorials and shootouts. It's been great to have the opportunity to introduce you to Cabinetron, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.